All right, we're beginning. The scenario is a 25-year-old man is considering leaving his job as a social worker and joining the priesthood. He has always felt a calling to help others and believes that he can best fulfill that need through his religion. Recently, he ended a 5-year relationship with his college sweetheart, who is pressuring him into getting married. Okay. Are you making this change because you feel as if your life is missing something?
I believe that I'm not fulfilling my duty of helping enough people as a social worker, and I believe that I can do more through being a priest.
What do you think your life is missing?
I just don't feel happy. I don't know if it's because of my profession, the woman I had been with my whole life, but I just feel that there's a hole.
How long have you been feeling this way?
I felt as if there was something missing from my life for quite a few years, but in the past 5 months it has really been eating at me, and my depression medication is not really helping.
Why do you think this need for something has been more bothersome these past few months?
Probably because my ex-girlfriend was really pushing for the next step, marriage. I just didn't feel that it was right for us.
Why didn't you think it was the right step?
I love her and care about her, but there was still something missing in my life. I didn't want to drag her down with me if I couldn't fill this empty space. Also, my depression feels as if it has gotten worse. I don't know what to do. Since I'm not feeling happy, I don't want to make my girlfriend feel miserable. Then she will just resent me later in life.
Do you think if she never pressured you to take the next step, you would still be with her?
Quite possibly, but maybe it was a good thing she did.
How so?
It made me realize that I'm not ready for the next step, marriage. It wasn't fair for her to keep her around when she wanted to get married and have kids while I was still on the fence.
Were there any other situations or factors that also made you feel that void in your life?
My mother passed away about a half a year ago. She was my last living parent. My father died when I was a baby. My mother never spoke of him, but I kind of think he took his own life. My mother would never tell me, but I know his father had issues with depression.
With your mother passing, has this opened up the void you are feeling even more?
Yes. She was always such a caring and loving woman. She volunteered through our church all the time. She was God's helping hand.
What makes you think your father took his own life?
No one in my family ever wanted to talk about the way he died. I don't know if my mother made them promise not to ever tell me, or if it was too hard for her to acknowledge it.
Do you feel that if your father truly did take his own life, that the scenario is affecting you more than you realize?
Quite possibly. I was just a baby, but what could have been so bad that he would want to leave my mother and I? Him not being around really affected my mother when I was young. She was never around. It wasn't until I was in my teens she actually became my mother. My grandparents raised me most of my childhood.
This void that you're describing, do you feel as if you didn't get enough of time with your mother?
I'm not sure. I just know that I miss her.
Growing up with your grandparents, how did that make you feel?
Like an outcast. Don't get me wrong, I love my grandparents, but I was always made fun of. Many kids thought my grandparents were my parents. They always made fun of how old they were compared to their parents.
Growing up, did you ever talk to anyone about this?
No.
How come?
I didn't want to make my grandparents upset. I know they loved me and they were trying their best to raise their daughter's son. They were good to me. They wanted me to be involved in anything I could be at school. They were always there when my mother wasn't. Telling them what people were saying might have upset or hurt them. They were doing their best. They were the best. I tried to just ignore what everyone else said.
What is driving you to be a bigger part of your church?
My mother. That is where I spent most of my time with her.
Doing this, do you think that it will bring you closer to your mother in spirit?
I'm not sure. Maybe I just feel that there is a hole, and I don't know how to fill it. I'm hoping that with doing so, my life will feel fuller.
What have you tried to fill this void?
I tried picking up more cases at work, trying to help more and more people.
Has this helped at all?
No, this just makes me feel overwhelmed. The type of work I do is very draining, and I don't think the bigger caseload was a good idea.
Have you tried anything else?
Not really. Whenever I get home after work, I'm so drained. I usually eat dinner sometimes and go straight to sleep.
Do you think you are sleeping more because of your depression, or are you fully that exhausted?
It could be both. I just haven't had the energy to do anything else besides work.
Do you have any other ideas to try?
I was thinking about going to my doctor to discuss my medications with him. Maybe he could alter them a little bit, or we could discuss trying a new one since my depression medication isn't working.
Do you have any other ideas besides your medication?
I've been debating about going to see my father's mother and father, or at least find them. They weren't really involved in my life or a part of it, but I think knowing what really happened to my father might help me.
Everything that you've mentioned above seems to be coming back to this void that you feel and that has not been filled. Do you think picking up a hobby or something to fill your time with could really help?
Quite possibly. What did you have in mind?
Well, what kind of things do you like?
I like the outdoors. I used to garden with my mother when I lived at home. Maybe I could start a garden of my own.
That sounds like a very good idea. Are there any other hobbies that you haven't continued with in a while that you miss?
Maybe reading. I was thinking maybe I could pick up some volunteering shifts or activities through the church like my mother and I used to do.
That's a great idea. What kind of volunteering did you and your mother do?
We volunteered at soup kitchens. We helped work with after-school programs for working parents. We were in charge of different food and clothing drives. I would also like to do a little more fundraising for those in need.
Maybe picking up a hobby that can help fill your time or something in the realm of priesthood to get an idea of your changes could be a really good idea. Does that sound like a good idea? The only issue that comes into play with this is the long time that it might take to understand what your change is going to be in life and what direction you're going to go. How does that make you feel?
I think that does sound like a good idea. Maybe on top of volunteering at my church, I'll ask for a meeting with the priest and discuss his profession with him. This will give me a better understanding of what he does. Maybe this will help me give some insight when making my decision about a career change.
That is a good goal to set. To set this goal, what is your plan?
I will call my priest tomorrow morning and set an appointment with him, and while I'm up there, I will ask about volunteer opportunities or if he recommends a hobby for me to take up. I will also take up a hobby on my own, maybe gardening. The weather is starting to get nice outside. That would be fun for the summer.
Those all sound like great ideas. I can't wait to hear all about them in the next visit. So by our next visit, you will have met with your priest and picked up a volunteer opportunity in helping people. And I can't wait to hear about your gardening and everything you have done to get ready for the gardening season.